Perfect Earth Podcast episode 250, Lamar, Death Streamer.
Well, Joe, when this comes out, it'll be the day before October, so we're kicking off Halloween month with Death Streamer. This movie shows us what happens when you give a vampire basically social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the age of live streaming and all that stuff, Lamar, and the vampires, they're with it.
Yes.
So let's get into it. Talk about the story, our first category.
Well, first of all, I don't know if we mentioned this. This is also the second movie in the Pulp Noir collection for Full Moon,
Yep.
and so this movie has a vampire who has like this secluded sex club, and unfortunately women come there for just to hang out.
Yeah.
But unbeknownst to them, he is a vampire, and he is streaming for a certain reason his kills or his sacrifices. However, what happens is that another kind of like YouTube group that goes into, making
Yeah.
horror stories and exposing, well, not making horror stories, but telling like true horror stories, they see the actual footage and then they stream it, and then the vampire comes after them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like this story. It was
Yes.
because it was different. It was something interesting. At first, I was like, "Man, there's a lot of plot holes here." like no one, the authorities are not streaming this or getting the stream or whatever.
It's kind of explained,
Yeah,
but
yeah, they do
yes.
explain. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So there were certain scenes I thought were like dragged on a little bit with the group of the YouTubers or whatever they were to be.
Yes.
But I did like the end. There was a twist at the end. I like that. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it was a good premise. It was a little drawn out at parts. I think it could have been a little bit shorter, but I do like the premise though. I
Yeah,
like the idea. So yeah.
very good premise and very good. Probably, I think of all the ones that we've seen, because it's only the second one, but I think
Hmm.
this one you can definitely do another one. You could. Well, they left it off that way too. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a half point for story.
I agree. Half point.
Well, our next category, Lamar, is what did we think of them characters?
Well, we basically had the what was the Scooby Doo the Mystery Machine. That's who they are, because
Yeah.
they're unbeknownst to them. This is some real ish going down. So they're kind of quirky and they have their own YouTube stuff going on, and
Yep.
so they're not the most capable people, but they have their little quabbles and little quips towards each other and stuff like that. So they're at least they're interesting. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the villain, there was the main villain, and then he had two, I guess, hench people, a woman and a
Yes.
big, big guy, and so there was. Well, for the recent full moon movies, this had probably a bigger cast. There's usually what, three people, and this one had like five, six or so.
Yes, they did.
So, but yeah, I liked the group of YouTubers. I thought they had a good chemistry. They were
Mm-hmm.
interesting, and the villain, he was okay. Actually, it was the female villain, that his right hand person, that was actually the more interesting character. I thought. I
Interesting.
thought
Okay.
maybe she should have been the main villain, honestly. But I'll give it 1 point for characters.
Agreed. 1 point.
Well, our next category, Lamar, is vampires.
What you said about, the main vampire, I agree. He was kind of meh, just
Yeah.
I'll say this. Maybe it's because he's not like the typical super suave vampire that we would see like from
Okay.
Dracula and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So when I was looking at him, I was like, decent actor, but he didn't sell me on the Dracula thing. Well, on the vampire thing. I'm sorry, he's not Dracula. He's someone else. I'm so sorry.
What about the use of vampire lore in this?
This was something different because we get into, kind of like followings and, I guess it's more of the seduction of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough category, honestly, because they there was vampirism.
Yes, there
He was a
was.
vampire. Did they utilize the lore? I mean, well, yeah, I think they utilized the lore because how they, were trying to kill him and stuff. And
Yeah, it's true.
what are you giving it?
Hmm. I'll give it half a point.
I guess I'm gonna have to give it 1 point, Lamar. I think they did use the lore of vampires,
Okay.
so I'll give it to them on that one. But our next category, Lamar, is what do we think of the special effects?
Well, there was blood, lots of it.
Yeah, there was some real blood, at least.
Yeah, real
Unlike some of the
blood,
movies that we see, there's too much digital blood out there, but they use practical. I like it.
practical blood, practical effects. There was some CGI things, but it was so quick. It was like, okay.
Well, there was CGI like the bats, the eyes. Remember, like there's a scene where the eyes that reminded me of an episode. That reminded me of Hercules.
Oh wow.
Remember that
Oh
the
man.
eyes of what's her face, Hera.
See, I didn't mind it though.
No, I didn't mind that.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. There was one scene with the blood where at first I was like, "Wait a minute, that's not so." There, you could see a tube, but then
Well,
then they explained it. So
yes,
I'm not
that's
sure
what
if I
happened.
bought the explanation, but
Oh, Joe, do you know the inner workings of the blood system,
I do
Joe?
not. I do. I kind of do, Lavar, but
Oh,
I don't know.
okay. Excuse
I'm not
me.
sure if I bought it. It was interesting looking, but well, I guess I have to give them the one because they did do the practical and all that. So yeah, 1 point for me.
Agreed. 1 point.
Okay. Well, Lamar, our last category, always the most important category, especially when we're judging full moon features. TNA.
Transylvania and uh anemia, because that's the only word I can think of with blood. Boy, oh boy. Well, they upped the ante. So
Well, my
yeah,
question is this, Lamar: was there a female character in this movie that we didn't see exposed?
that's a good question.
I'm pretty sure they were all ended up at some point.
Well, we appreciate their dedication to the
Yep.
art.
Well, I'm giving. You know what? I'm gonna give it 1 point, Lamar. Not because I'm some kind of pervert or something like this. I'm giving it 1 point because they used the TNA as a plot point. They
Yeah,
used it as a weapon. It was used to take out the vampire. So for that, I give it 1 point, and no other reason.
I'm not. I don't have an argument. Yes.
Well, Lamar, we've tallied the score, and this movie gets a 4.25 out of 5.
Nice watch. Maybe just a little bit shorter,
A little bit, a little
but
tightening.
a little tightening. But it is. See, Joe. So all the other filmmakers out there, even the big studios, try something different. This is
Yeah,
something
it's
different.
something different. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I think
So
that's been true with this Pulp Noir thing. Like it's had a different tone. So
yeah.
far so good.
Mm-hmm.
Does that wrap it up then, Lamar?
It does.
All right, Death Streamer. Peace.
Deuces.